Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, we welcome you. We welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us on this adventure that takes us, who knows where it'll take us, but I was promising another update for my cancer videos, so that's what this video is going to be. And then the next video I make, which I might make tomorrow or later on in the week, it depends on how it works out with some of my school due dates.
Hi. I just have an ear antibiotic, okay?
Sorry, my nurse came in.
Oh, sorry.
So, anyways, I will do an update video, but like I said, that'll be later on this week. This video, I'm going to continue on talking about my cancer journey and, where it's, and eventually get to the point of where I'm at now. So I had already talked about being diagnosed and how, having cancer, it's not just one person having cancer, it's like the whole family gets cancer. And it really is hard on everyone, financially, emotionally. It's definitely a struggle on all of that, and physically as well too, because I know it's not easy for my mom to drive me to my appointments because of her back, and then the car shakes and that doesn't help, and like my back and legs hurt enough just sitting in the passenger seat. I can't imagine what it would be like sitting in the driver's seat. And then even when my stepdad, when he drives us, I don't know how his knee is feeling. I don't know how tired he is from working or doing those sort of things. So, it is hard on the whole family, like I've talked about before. And I talked about, starting chemo at the beginning and how that was rough, because in my case, not only was I taking chemo, but I was taking chemo cocktails, as my doctors would like to call it, because the chemos I was taking had to be mixed or made differently, or it was just a different experience. A lot of the reactions that I would have to initial chemos and side effects that I would get, they were like, nobody has ever gotten it this bad. Nobody's ever had this sort of situation before. So the next thing after starting chemo, and what I'd like to talk about in this video, is allergies. Growing up all my life, I would always brag to everybody because I didn't have any allergies. My sisters get sick when the seasons change because of all the pollen in the air and the dust. And my youngest sister, because she's the oldest of my sisters, but I'm the oldest, so youngest sister, she can't really have dairy because she gets a sty on her eye and it gets really bad. But allergies, I've never had any of them. And then I started getting chemo and they just all started coming out of the woodworks. I found out that I was allergic to blood products, so blood and platelets. So sometimes actually they've told me they've had to mix bloods too in order to get me the right one. And then I'm allergic to another one called vancomycin. With that one, it's called Bredman's disease. I believe my grandma was with me in the hospital when I got that one, because I had just noticed a few little spots on my leg when I was showering one day, and I told my nurse practitioner about it, and the next day it was pretty much everywhere. My feet were red, my whole arms and body and torso and face was red. That's why they call it Bredman's disease, So there's that one, Vanco. So, and the problem is, because of a lot of my symptoms and side effects, I still have to get that one. So I have to be like heavily pre-meded before it. I get Benadryl and Tylenol for like 3 hours. I have to get that just so that I can get a tiny dose of Vanco run very slowly because that's the only way that it won't give me that Redmond's disease again. And oh, I remember that one. It made me so mad because I kept telling them, I was like, well, it started when you put me on this new medicine. It started when you put me on this. And everybody, no, it can't be that. It's got to be something else. And then finally, one of the doctors came in, and he was the best. He was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure it is the Vanco. I'm pretty sure that's what's doing this to you. So let's stop it, and then we'll come back to it if nothing changes. But right now, we're going to stop it and see what happens. And he stopped it. And literally the next day, it started clearing up. All of my symptoms started clearing up. And he's like, I knew that's what was giving it to you. It happens rarely, but it does happen. Like everything that happens to me happens rarely. And then there's the next on my allergy list, which is called Sosin. Sorry, my IV is beeping. I'm going to call my nurse in here. So there's the next on my list, Sosin. That one gives me really bad chest pains. Luckily, I haven't had to have a repeat on that one. And then, what's the other ones? Oh, hold on. Yeah, my machine is beeping. Okay. The last one is called rituximab, and that one gives me hives. Really bad hives on my chest and my back. I don't think I've had to get that one again either, though, so that's good. The only one that I have to worry about is blood products, because sometimes I need blood, sometimes I need platelets, and I have to be pre-medded for both of them so that I don't get, oh, with those, I don't think I mentioned what I get with those. I get, like, red spots. It's kind of like hives, too, but that one's mostly on my legs that I get that. And the Vanco, sometimes I have to worry about, because sometimes they've had to give it to me for various reasons, various illnesses and stuff like that. So it was weird to go all my life, no allergies. My sister has like a page front and back of allergies that half of them we don't even know what it means. And my other sister, she has some allergies too, like she's allergic to pollen and dust and stuff like that. And, you know, so there's all of this. And, you know, in high school, my friends would have allergies during allergy season. And here I was, I don't have any allergies, I'm good. And then I get 4 new allergies, well 5, because blood products is technically 2. And then all these horrible side effects. Which actually leads me into the next part of the video, side effects. When you're starting chemo, you're in bed a lot because you don't feel good. The medicine does not make you feel better. It makes you better, but it does not make you feel better. So you're in bed a lot. So side effects there at the beginning are usually weakness, pain. Whether the doctor tells you it's real or not, trust me, it's real when you're feeling pain. Drowsiness, again, because you're in bed all the time. You're just kind of in and out of sleep a lot. You don't really want to do anything. And for a long time at the beginning, I was trying to fight, but I was very depressed at the beginning. Very woe is me. There were a couple things that helped, like, you know, my family helped. I wasn't really keeping in contact with any of my friends at that time anymore, so I didn't really have that kind of support. However, you know, I did have the child life specialist in that hospital, and he was great. But it wasn't until I had finally made it through those first rounds of chemo and started going to clinic that I met my most favorite child life specialist. We'll call her Pam, because I'm not going to use her real name here. I haven't gotten permission, and because I forgot to ask. So Pam was my inspiration. She's the one who got me out of my funk. She's the one who made me like rethink life entirely. And actually, because of her, I did rethink life. I stopped thinking about, oh, I need this, I need money, I need to get a job, I need to move on in life, I need to go to college, I need to start right away, I need to get going. And made me think, just be happy to be alive. Be happy you can go outside, because when you're in the hospital for 3 months where there's no weather except what you can see out the window, it's kind of depressing. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a super I'm not super crazy about being out in the sunshine all the time and blah blah blah. I prefer rainy days, which are like gloomy, I guess. But either way, when you have visitors coming in and they're like, oh, it's so hot outside, or oh, it's freezing out there, or it's really coming down. It's like, is it really? I don't even know what day of the week it is anymore. And sometimes it would get to that. I wouldn't even know what day of the week it is if it weren't for them writing it on my chalkboard. There's been days I've gone without touching my phone or the iPad or a gaming system, anything. I just lay here and watch TV and talk to the doctors when they come in. Sometimes talk to whoever's staying with me. So there's a lot of different side effects. Nausea. Nausea has been a big one. I'm thinking about this now because actually the day before yesterday I had really bad nausea and I threw up for the first time in a long time. So, but I'll talk about that more in my update video where I talk about why I haven't been able to post until finally now I'm getting a video done. And I hope to try to keep on track this time. Like I said, I do want to try to have the update video done by the end of this week. But it is already Wednesday and I do have school, and I'm sorry, but I have to put school first. And other side effects of cancer is like, yeah, there's depression, there's joy for when you have good days or you hear good news. Like, I can't tell you how happy I was the first time they had told me that my body was finally cancer-free. Granted, I was miserable when they told me it came back. So, but I was joyous each time they told me that my body was finally cancer-free. And what other side effects could I talk about? There's dizziness, there's drowsiness. I think at one point I was down at the beginning for like 3 months and I literally had to relearn to walk. I started out in a wheelchair, and then they got me walking with a walker and stuff like that. And there's still a lot of things my body can't do. Like, for a while I was walking good, jumping, I could run, blah blah blah. But if I needed to sit on the floor, I needed to kneel down first, and then I could sit on the floor. And then to get up, I'd have to get on one knee and push myself up with the other leg. Now, right now, because I had been down for a few days, and the unfortunate part about being down for those few days is that I was already still barely recovering. So I'm not on a walker anymore. But I can't do a whole lot of distance things. Like, I can't really walk through the mall or anything like that. It makes me too tired. And I don't know if I'd be able to push myself up off the floor yet. So there's side effects of that. And I lost a lot of muscle strength. And then it messes with your mind mentally. There's a lot of mental issues there too, because I remember initially when I was down for those 3 months, I had gone into the hospital. I can't believe I'm going to say this, But when I was diagnosed, I was about 182 pounds. And when I finally came to after those 3 months, I was about 112. I'm gonna cry. Okay. Um, Losing that much weight that fast does something to you. And don't get me wrong, I was happy to be at a bit, well, it's not a better weight because that's not really good either, but I was happy to be at a lower weight. But I do have body dysmorphia, so you know my body's normal now, but at the time you could see my collarbone sticking out, and my hands would shake, and when I would smile it was almost like gaunt because my face was just so thin. But when I would look in the mirror, I wouldn't see that. I'd still see, you know, fat everywhere. And it was really a really tough time at that time. And then I started to, you know, gain weight back, and I got to like 135, which is good. It's a good weight to be at. 135, 140s. I know women never talk about their weight, but I find it important to this story. So that's another side effect, because like when you're just laying in bed being fed through a tube, you do lose a lot of weight. And when you're that frail, building your strength is a lot harder, because you know every muscle shakes. It's colder because you have less meat on your bones. And really, it's just not heavy to lose, what, 70 pounds in 3 months, just like that. It was not good. And it was even harder for me to move because a lot of times I'd need people to help me get up, and it would hurt so badly because my arms were so frail that when they would grab me, it was basically like they were just grabbing the bone and trying to pull me up, and I couldn't. Sometimes my legs would lock, and they're always like push, and there were times where I literally couldn't. I remember that actually happened one time. I went to my clinic in Loma Linda too. I was getting out, and my dad, Carlos, had to help me up, and my legs were pretty much shot. I couldn't push up, I couldn't move them really. It was just like they were numb, and it was really scary. I'm sorry, I said I wouldn't cry, and then here I am crying. So yeah, that's a really negative side effect. And then, you know, it's never fun when you go to the bathroom and you need help to get up from the toilet, no matter who's helping you. It doesn't matter. Another side effect, blackouts. First one happened before I was diagnosed. I was in my kitchen at home with my mom, and I felt dizzy, and the next thing I knew, I was kneeling on the floor. I don't remember kneeling down, I don't remember falling. I just know the next thing I knew is that I came to, I was kneeling on the floor, and there was ringing in my ears. And my mom said, that's it, we're not taking you to the doctor today, because I was actually supposed to go to the doctor to get blood drawn, ironically. So we went to the ER, and my mom was there for a while, and then she left, and then my dad came, and my dad was waiting with me, and then the nurse came in, and she said, you had 2 liters or 2 units of blood in your body. You should be dead right now, let alone conscious. And I was like, oh, Dad, look, they came with good news. It was kind of funny though, because he was sitting in this chair, and every time he'd lean his head back, he'd hit the stupid thermometer on the wall. The dial that changes the temperature in the room. So there was that, at least. So that was my first blackout. The second I remember is we were staying at the Ronald McDonald House in Loma Linda, and we had gone out for the day, and we went to meet my dad and my grandma at McDonald's. And at that time, again, kind of like now, I wasn't eating very much. So I had a cup of water, and I was walking with my walker, and we got to the car, and all I remember is dropping my water because I couldn't see, feeling it splash around my feet, and then just everything going dark. The next thing I remember, I was sitting in a wheelchair being admitted to the hospital. Sorry. Oh, I said I wasn't gonna cry. And then the third blackout, which I believe was the last one, because I don't think I've blacked out since I've fallen, but I haven't blacked out. The third blackout, I was at my grandma's house, and I was coming out of the bathroom, and as soon as I stepped out of the bathroom, I could just hear myself saying, I need to lie down, or I need to sit down, I need to sit down, I need to sit down. And my grandma was like, well, just a few more steps. And I was like, no, I can't. And then I remember dropping to my knees, and everything went black. I don't know if she was still saying something because I couldn't hear her anymore. I just heard ringing in my ears, and I was staring forward, and it's like, sit in a room with like blackout curtains or no curtains or whatever in the middle of the night and turn off all the lights. That's how my vision was. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't hear anything. And I don't know how long I was like that. It felt like a few minutes to me, but it could have been like 30 seconds. I don't know. But yeah, blackouts aren't fun. I said nausea. Nausea isn't fun. I had to carry a bucket with me half the time because we'd never know when I would throw up. And unfortunately, I do have a really embarrassing throw up story. We were at the mall, and I had my walker, and my mom went into Victoria's Secret, and I told her I was gonna wait out front because, you know, getting through all the little aisles and stuff that they have in there, I just didn't feel like doing it. And I sat there, and I felt like I was gonna throw up, so I walked over to the trash can, and I stood there for a little bit, kind of like dry heaving, but nothing was coming out. So I was like, okay. So I went back to the store, the front door, sat down, and threw up all over the floor right as my mom was walking out. Luckily, you know, I didn't get her or anything, or me or anything, but I threw up everywhere right there. So we quickly told someone, and then quickly left. It was horrible. I hate throwing up like that. I've had a couple times in the hospital where like I won't have a bucket or a bag, and I won't be able to get up fast enough, so I've just thrown up on the side of the bed, or over the side of the bed, not on the bed. And that's no fun either, because then I feel so bad calling in. I know like it's part of their job, but I feel so bad. So like the whole time they're in here, I'm just like, I'm so sorry. I wasn't even feeling nauseous for long. It just, I felt nauseous and then it hit. Or sometimes I won't even feel nauseous, and then it'll just, there it is. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. So let's see, what other side effects, fun side effects did we talk about? We talked about weakness, muscle strength, weight loss and gain, depression, because it's a very difficult thing to go through. It's, you know, you feel sad when you see cancer patients on TV, but until you're going through it or sitting in the hospital and you can hear the person next door screaming and crying because they don't want to hurt anymore or to get the shot that they have to get or whatever. You know, it's not easy. And like I said, it's not easy for the families either. Trying to think what else. I started getting this thing called petechia. It's like you get these, I don't have any right now or else I'd show you. But it's kind of like a rash. You get like these little red spots everywhere. But the good thing about that is usually it just means that my platelets were low and I just need to get a platelet infusion and usually it goes away. They don't bug me or itch or anything. They just look really weird. I was trying to see if I had any, but my platelets have actually been really good. That's another thing. I also learned that I'm anemic when I got diagnosed with cancer. And so because of the anemia and the medications that I have to take, I will tell you what they are, but honestly, I don't even know the names of most of them. I am prone to bruising a lot. This is actually from the blood pressure cuff. So that's not fun because they have to check your vitals a lot. So like every time it squeezes on these bruises and stuff and it hurts. And I can't do it on the other side because I have this thing, my attachment as I like to call it. And I don't think it would be very good if you put a blood pressure cuff over that. I'm pretty sure it would have some bad side effects. And then, you know, there's the side effects that everybody knows about, you know, hair loss, hair growing back. I did not know, though, that when your hair grows back, it grows back differently every time. Because originally, I had light brown, stick straight hair. And then it grew back and I had dark brown, wavy hair. And now I have dark brown, crazy curly hair. My mom likes to call this my afro. It's in kind of like awkward phase too, because while it was a little bit shorter, I could kind of brush it back and it would look nice. Then again, I don't have a brush. So this is the best I could get it for you. It's not knotted, at least. I did brush it out as best as I could. I try to look good for you guys, you know, because you guys, we're all a family here on this channel. So when we come here, it's kind of like a family reunion, story time, or whatever we happen to be doing that on that video. So sorry, side rant. And it's super itchy when your hair falls out. While your hair is falling out, it's crazy itchy, which is why I didn't wait until I was having bald spots or anything. I was just like, shave it. It's itching me, it's driving me crazy. And it gets everywhere. My hair's fallen out a couple times. So when you have long hair and it's falling out, it starts coming out in like chunks. And it's just no fun to run your hands through your hair and then a big old chunk of hair is there instead. And then when you have shorter hair, I think mine was a little bit shorter than this when it was falling out when I had the shorter hair. The little hairs just stick to everything. I remember my pillowcases front and back would be covered with these hairs. So as soon as I got home, I was like, I need it shaved. I'm sorry, I can't. My beanies were full of hair. My shirts had hair all over them. I looked like I was attacked by a shedding dog or something. And it's very upsetting when you see your hair everywhere because all you want is for it to grow back. I mean, some people might not. Some people might like the pixie cut or being bald. But I personally prefer having longer hair. Although I do right now tell my mom like the best thing about my hair being as short as it is I don't have to worry about like going out in the wind and then it getting everywhere or messing up for however it was styled. So that's a plus, but I still do want my longer hair. And it's coming. My hair is growing really fast. It's really thick and long as it is. What other side effects? I was going to like script this and so I could like have it written down and just have like bullet points that I could go off of so that I wouldn't be sitting here thinking, oh, what other side effects have I had that I have not yet mentioned. I've had issues with my lungs, issues breathing, being short of breath. I've had issues with my chest, having chest pains, stomach issues because of this one. Sorry if it's kind of gross, but it's true. Because of some of the medications I was taking and a lot of the pain pills, I would get really constipated. But then they'd give me something for it, and the thing they give you for it is like a crazy laxative. So then I'd have the runs for the next 3 days. So that wasn't fun. Speaking of side effects, there was a time where I couldn't move very well and I couldn't get up really. So for the bathroom, I wore a diaper. I was in the hospital and I was wearing an adult diaper. It sucked. I hated it. It was more depressing every time I had to go and use that diaper. But I'm very happy to have regular underwear now and not have to do that. But I had to do that. Or they'd have to bring in a bedpan and I'd have to go like that. And, that wasn't very fun. There was a while I couldn't bathe myself because I was so weak. So, like, the nurses would have to come and wash me. Some of the nurses were a little too rough, so it would feel like they were literally rubbing my skin off. I know they didn't mean to be, and if I said something, they would usually like try to be a lot softer and stuff. But sorry, the mouse keeps falling off of the computer table that's in here. I think that's the third time it's done that today. Other side effects. I think the biggest side effect of having cancer in general, I would say, is that it's changed the way I view life. I'm much more appreciative of my family and the people around me, the friends that I have now, and just life in general. I'm appreciative for weather. I don't exactly like when it's windy or crazy hot that I can't walk outside without sweating, but I appreciate it a lot more. I appreciate being able to go outside or being able to do things that I wasn't able to do in the hospital, being able to go to a restaurant or being able to go grocery shopping or things like that. It really made me have a more positive outlook. And I used to get just mad at everything, mad at the world for everything that was going on and feeling like I was unjustified. And I don't know if that's just, being a teenager, but I feel like sometimes I took it a little too extreme. Nothing like self-harm or anything. Don't worry about that. I never self-harmed. I never had thoughts of killing myself. Although, when I would get really frustrated, I had this thing I would do where I would pinch the inner parts of my thighs until like they would bruise. So I guess that's technically self-harm, and I would do that for a long part of high school. I don't do anything like that anymore, though. I have healthier ways of letting out my emotions, and I'm better at talking to people about my emotions, because before I would just approach people with such words of anger and selfish, narcissistic values, and it wasn't working for me. And I'm glad I finally realized that. I finally realized, this is your one life. Enjoy it. So, I'm so much happier now. I'm so much more forgiving. I'm so much closer in my relationship with God, which in my eyes is definitely part of the reason why I can stay so positive a lot of the time. And it's funny because in high school you think this is where it is. This is what's going to matter for the rest of my life. And then you graduate high school. Not only did I have a wake-up shock from cancer, but even after the first time I was cancer-free, even living in the real world, getting a job, going to college, nothing that happened in high school matters anymore. Nothing that we thought important back then is important now. And also, I think it's a load of baloney that they tell you that high school classes are teaching you to get ready for college in the future, because they did not do that when I went to high school. None of those classes have helped me with any of my other classes or anything in life. Although I am happy for my sisters, because now they've reinstated home ec and stuff. So they are learning some good stuff from that. I think they should put driver's ed back too. But anyways, yeah, side effect. I grew up in a very positive way. And I think that's it. This video is kind of getting longer than I meant it to be, but it's an important video because the allergies part was very short, but the side effects are just as important. And there's other things I have that are like kind of a plus, but not at the same time. Like they put me on a contraceptive medicine, so no periods. So that's like, oh, cool. But it also means that I will probably go through menopause before my 30s. It could wait until later, it can, but it's more than likely that I'll go through menopause before my 30s. And it also means that my chances of ever being able to have my own children are about 1% now, because of how long I've been taking them and stuff. And yes, I've actually talked to a doctor about that, and they've actually told me this, especially since, not just because of that medicine, but because of the chemo I've been through both times, and then the radiation I've gone through, and some of the surgeries I've gone through and stuff too. It's just, I could, but it's not very likely that my uterus would be able to hold a child even if I got pregnant. So, which is okay, because I've always wanted to adopt anyways, but hearing you can have kids is still not easy. It's not an easy thing to hear. So there's the side effect for that. My skin is super sensitive, so like if I'm going somewhere where I'm gonna be out and exposed to the sun a lot, I try to do it even if like we're just going to different stores, because it's still a lot of sun exposure. I have to wear sunscreen, so that one's not that big of a change. It's not that big of a deal. I had some issues for a while, so I had to be put on dialysis, and I had a catheter right here where it used to be. So that was fun. You can get infections from the medication or just the machines, the wires that they put, which I've gotten, of course. Other side effects. I think that's about it. I mean, it's changed a lot of my relationships with my family members, but in good ways, I would say. And then, but yeah, like I said, it just makes you appreciate life a lot more. Like when I was working, I was appreciative that I could do that I could go to work, that I could have that job, and that it was something I could do again instead of just laying in a hospital bed. I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning of the video either, but yes, I am in a hospital right now, filming from a hospital, and I'll get into that with my update video. I was gonna add it to the end of this video, but we're already at 41 minutes, so maybe not. I try to keep these short and sweet, but there was a lot to talk about in this one, and I had a couple side rampages and moments where I needed to recollect myself. So, as I said before, thank you for coming to my channel. Thank you for watching and sharing my journey with me. If you have any questions or comments, questions like something specific you want me to explain more or ask about, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I am an open book. And if you want to say something nice in the comments, you could do that too. Please try to stay positive in the comments, or even when commenting to each other, please. I'd like to keep this a positive community and not have a lot of fighting going on. I see that happen in a lot of the comments on other channels, and that's not a fun community, and I'd like this to be a fun community. So please leave a like on this, share with your friends so we can get a bigger family, and subscribe if you can. And other words, I will see you in the next video. Bye.